everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you, boom, are watching the Political Vigilante, making Gotham great again as best we can. Oh, I know we could be talking about ivermectin, but I'm going to talk about something like climate collapse. So we were just at the COP26, the Glasgow Climate Summit, when America's back, Nancy Pelosi says at the Glasgow Summit. Representative AOC was among a group of Democratic lawmen who traveled with Miss Pelosi, the business makers, the Climate Summit. Oh, thank God. By the way, this is like from the New York Times, and this is just classic incremental centrism. So Trump didn't go, took us out of the Paris Accord. He was awful for the environment. And then this little, and I'm going to show you in a second, we didn't get it. It was a failure. COP26 was a failure. And I'm going to show you why. It was a failure. It was a complete failure at the very last minute. The very last minute, India and China decided to change some wording. But this is to get the incremental centrist, the vote any blue will do crowd to go, see, at least we got them in there. This is better than Trump. Is this better than Trump? Sure. But I'm going to show you the UN report from 2018 that said we had 12 years left. Incremental centrism is not going to fix this problem. So the fact that you keep voting for it, you are still signing us a death warrant. It's literally like, instead of the world, with Trump, we would, oh man, everything would have been done. There'd be no more life on planet Earth by 2040. But with these incremental centrist corporate Democrats, we're going to at least live till maybe 2045, maybe even 2050. So if you're under the age of 30, you're still going to be dead way sooner than you should be. But Pelosi doesn't care. Anyway, this is what other outlets, media outlets around the world, because around the world, they're way tougher on the climate than we are.
COP26 has been a failure.
A climate activist hijacking the microphone to denounce COP26 as a failure, after countries agreed to phase down rather than phase out coal. This last-minute change, led by India and China, sparked disappointment for many delegates, including those
phase down from phase out. They changed that wording at the last second. Gee, I wonder why. Couldn't it be because there was more lobbyists there than countries?
island nations.
This commitment on coal had been a bright spot in this package. It was one of the things we were hoping to carry out of here and back home with pride. And it hurts deeply to see that bright spot dim.
Campaigners like Greta Thunberg and NGOs have also voiced their discontent.
Well, I think it's meek and it's weak, but it does send a signal of the end of coal. So that is a good thing, but it doesn't meet the moment. It keeps the 1.5 degree goal in sight, barely.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson celebrated the deal as a game changer, but even he acknowledged it did not go as far as many had hoped.
Of course, my delight at this progress is tinged with disappointment. Those for whom climate change is already a matter of life and death, they demanded a high level of ambition for this summit. And while many of us were willing to go there, that wasn't true of everybody. And sadly, that's the nature of diplomacy.
I love how these powerful countries act like there's nothing they could have done. And this is diplomacy. Like, do you understand that if we don't do this, we're going to die? Like, you can't negotiate with climate collapse. It's like there's a meteor coming to the planet, coming to destroy all life on Earth. And it's like, well, we didn't get rid of the meteor, but we made progress. We made it smaller. Oh, so we're still all going to die? Well, not necessarily. But a meteor is still going to blast the planet. Yeah, but it's progress. We don't have any time. We don't have any time left. We don't have any time left. We do not have any time left. God damn it.
Part of the agreement, countries have pledged to meet next year to agree on further major carbon cuts so that the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius can be reached.
I mean, these are all the articles coming out of there. It could have been worse, but our leaders failed us at COP25. That's the truth of it. Countries who make the crisis serious, who take this crisis seriously, must seize the initiative and make the rest pariahs. That's why, like, Greta is like, no, it was a failure. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a failure, because she's just watching. She just watched her future get negotiated away. Am I being hysterical? Am I a crazy guy? Well, no, the UN put this study out in 2018. I've been talking about this since this study came out 3 years ago, over 3 years ago now. We have 12 years to limit climate change catastrophe, warns the UN. The urgent changes needed 3 years ago, needed to cut risk of extreme heat, drought, floods, and poverty. This is why I was screaming during the primary, we got to have a real Green New Deal. This is why when Joe Biden said we need a middle ground on climate policy, I was like, that'll kill us. That'll kill us. And everyone danced in the street for that guy who raped Tara Reid. He's a rapist piece of shit, just like Donald Trump. You don't think climate change is real? Cool. Go live in the Gulf states. Go live in the Gulf states. Go live in South Florida. You don't think climate change is real? Move to South Florida because it's going to be underwater soon. That's fine. I've already done videos showing how the governments down there are like trying to come up with ways to prevent having to evacuate Florida. But that's fine. I'm the crazy guy. That's cool. I'm cool. Maybe Joe Rogan's elk meat can save climate change or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for options. Maybe Aaron Rodgers should call Joe Rogan and see what he says. I'm open to any option. Rising temperatures. This again was from the 2018 UN study that had 6,000 scientists from all over the planet. So when a climate denier says, well, there's this one doctor or this one scientist with this one study, that's not how it works. You need peer reviewed, and peer reviewed studies show we are in climate collapse. Okay? So the light is undetectable. It gets very high. The risk, impacts and risks. This is the color bar. Coastal flooding. This is what happens if the temperature gets up above one. We're trying to prevent 1.5 degrees Celsius rising, which we didn't do by keeping coal. This is what starts to happen. The coral is already dying off. The coral has been dying off since 0.5. Okay. The Arctic region is melting, right? This is 2006, 2015 relative to pre-industrial levels. That's what this gray shaded area is. Okay. This is 06 to 2015. Now we're past that. And we're staring 1.5 and 2.0 in the face. And here's what it'll bring. Large scale singular events, ice sheet collapse, moderate to high to very high. So we're already in moderate to high. Large scale singular extreme weather events. Well, we're already in that. That's already been happening. The Gulf of Mexico was on fire this past summer. The West Coast was on fire. Remember the hurricanes that brought flooding from New Orleans all the way up the East Coast? That's already happening. Threatened ecosystems, already happening. By the way, if all the coral reefs die, then the oceans die. If the oceans die, life on planet Earth will be over in 5 years. Coastal flooding, already happening. River flooding could be bad. Crop yields, yeah. Climate collapse will bring food shortages. I mean, it's not like we've already had food shortages because of the failure of capitalist globalization in the last year and a half of the pandemic, right? It's not like literally outside of LA Harbor and Long Beach Harbor right now are a bunch of cargo ships because of this stupid system we put in place. Globalization. No, it only benefits the 1%. If you make products locally, you don't have to wait for them to get on and off of ships. Impact on tourism. Well, yeah, I think tourism. Heat-related morbidity and mortality. This is from 2018. AOC says, don't expect COP26 or governments to address climate crisis. Well, aren't you in the government, AOC? You were the one screaming about this UN report. That's one of the reasons why we all wanted you to get elected. I couldn't vote for you because I didn't live in your district, but I donated to your campaign and I did a bunch of videos saying, you're awesome. I can't wait for you to get in there. And now you're calling Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear. Here's why it failed. The ultimate guide to why the COP26 ended in failure and disappointment, despite a few bright spots. 2 big ticket items weren't released: renewing targets for 2030 that align with limiting warming to 1.5% and an agreement on accelerating the phase out of coal. They change it from phase out to phase down. And India is like, well, we're trying to become an industrialized nation, and it's not fair that America got to build all of its money and its empire with all this coal and steel, and now we're told we can't. Well, guess what? They've had air quality, huge air quality issues in India. You can't even see the sky in certain cities on certain days. I've never been to India, but I've been in Beijing. When they told you to wear a mask outside in Beijing because the air quality was so bad. I live in Los Angeles. Again, I just showed you that chart. What happens past 1.5? They're trying to limit it to 1.5. And this is already bad. This is already too hot. But new projections from Climate Action Tracker show even if all COP26 pledges are met, the planet is on track to warm by 2.1 or 2.4 if only 2030 targets are met. So let's look at, again, I want to show you this. Let's go back to this chart real quick. This is 2.1 and above. All of it is in high to very high. All of it. If we get over 2.0. Just so you know what's going to happen. Despite the Australian government's recent climate announcements, the nation's 2030 target remains the same as in 2015. If all countries adopted such meager near-term targets, global temperature rise would be on track for up to 3 point, which will just be a hellscape. The polar ice caps are melting. We've got rising sea levels, and all these island nations, Micronesia, the Tuvalu Islands, they're all going to be underwater. And we will have to evacuate South Florida. We will have to evacuate Manhattan. But it's not like a lot of people live in those places, so it won't be that big of a deal. So we're okay with it. As long as AOC keeps tweeting and everyone keeps arguing about masks and ivermectin, we'll be set. That's really good. India is the world's 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gases after China and the United States. The country relies heavily on coal, and coal power generation is expected to grow by 4.6% each year to 2024. And this is, again, what drives me nuts. Because billionaires like Elon Musk and bald little weasel flying his cock rocket, Jeff Bezos, could go invest in green energy in India and say, look, it's bad for the planet if you guys use coal. So we don't want you to use coal. So we're going to invest. And as a for-profit venture, we're going to invest, green energy plants, put people from India, give them jobs, but it's good for the whole planet. But we don't think that way. We just think money, money, money. It's why the big pharmaceutical companies don't give a shit about giving the COVID vaccine to poor countries. They don't care. 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 So there's a 4% vaccination rate in the entire continent of Africa. India has been slowly climbing up to 15 or something, maybe 20%. But come on, there's over 1 billion people there. They had record deaths over the summer. It was awful. This is greedy. It's all about money. What do I tell you? Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. So why did this happen at the last minute? Oh, fossil fuel companies have over 500 people at COP26, more than any single country. No single country had more than 500 people. China, all of its representatives. I think America sent most of the states, the governors. A bunch of governors. I don't know if all 50 governors went, but we sent a bunch of governors and people like Pelosi and AOC to do nothing. To do nothing. They're paid to do nothing. Because they all get money. You think the Democratic Party's better? You're a sucker if you think the Democratic Party is just going to buy you dinner and kiss you on the lips before they jam their fist up your ass. The Republicans just jam their fist up their ass and go, ha ha, freedom. And you think because you got dinner and a kiss on the lips, you got a better deal with the Democrats? You still got a fist in your ass. Lesser of two evils is still evil. Do you hear your own sentence? Unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. Am I the only one in indie media that gives a shit about climate collapse? Am I the only one? Am I the only one? What happened? This was a serious issue. Now Fauci said, I'm going to give a shit what Fauci said. He's a politician. I don't give a shit. We're facing climate collapse. And these videos that I do get the least amount of views. If I was doing videos on ivermectin and Fauci and everything, I'd get a bunch of views. Whether I agreed with indie media people or disagreed, I'd get a bunch of views. I've been called a Nazi because I like mandates. Fucking idiots. We need a mandate to save us from climate collapse. AOC and the squad are useless. The Democratic Party is useless. They tweet, they give speeches, they do not do a goddamn thing. Oh, this new infrastructure bill got passed, $1.2 trillion. And it's going to have green energy. Is it? Or is it just going to have a bunch of Wall Street kickbacks and oil subsidies? And they'll just put some window dressing. Oh, we built a new solar plant in Kansas and gave 100 people work. That's what they'll say. There'll be some token shit like that, but we won't really address this. We need a global effort. And Joe Biden is not a leader. He's a creepy old man who sniffs little kids' hair and has cognitive decline. The president of the United States is demonstrating cognitive decline. Noam Chomsky's demonstrating cognitive decline, but so what? He's a college professor. We shouldn't be making fun of Noam Chomsky. He said some crazy things his last couple of years because he's an old professor. We should cherish the work that he's done and say, all right, well, what he said recently doesn't, his pro-Biden stance, I don't know, maybe because he's seen Nazi Germany, whatever. Let's leave that guy alone. Why are we not talking about climate change every single day? We're going to have more. We already have them because of Katrina and all this. There's going to be more climate refugees in this country. The city of Santa Rosa 3 years ago was burned to the ground. What happens when LA is burned to the ground? What happens when Miami is evacuated because it's out of water? It's underwater. What do we do? All right. That's fine. The New York Police Department didn't want to take the vaccine. And we're now standing with cops. Your so-called lefty who's now standing with the cops. The cops should have just complied to a lawful order. I don't know how many more of these videos I got. I don't know how much do we got to do with this. That's how many of this, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? All right. If we don't fix climate collapse, if we fix everything else, but we don't fix the climate, it doesn't matter. We're all dead. Shave your knuckles for justice, I guess. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood. And go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.